Well, there is a long, rich history of policing in this province, but perhaps the most prolific force was not the RCMP or municipal squads, but the BC Provincial Police. Remarkable for their innovation and their scope, they ruled in BC for nearly 100 years and officially began their reign this week in history. Stacey Ross has more.
A modest plaque in the sunken garden of the Royal BC Museum is one of the few public memorials.
This is some of the smaller items.
But inside is where the treasures and stories of the Provincial Police are carefully preserved.
One of the great classics down here is the actual coat of arms of the BC Police.
They were the largest and most influential group of peacekeepers in the province for nearly 100 years. Formed on November 19, 1858, along with the colony of British Columbia, the beginnings of the Provincial Police were humble indeed.
They were issued with a badge, a gun, a billy club, and handcuffs.
A favorite was the tower handcuff, which is a double lock mechanism, which made it very difficult for prisoners to pick the lock.
They had no training and they were paid very little, but their responsibilities were many.
They had to do weather reports, they acted as postmaster, constables were collecting mining taxes, money for mining licenses.
Major felonies, small crimes, and the general run-of-the-mill policing in a small town.
The Provincial Police even managed the very first BC vehicle licenses.
John Barnsley from Victoria, and he paid $2 and was given number 1.
In 1923, legislation was passed which changed what had been a loose network of plain clothes and mostly rural constables to a uniformed and focused modern police force.
Crime labs, investigations of murder scenes, all of that. They operated a marine division with their own fleet of boats. They also did patrols on horse, but also motorcycle and automotive.
But the end would come quickly. It's not known if it was a political or economic decision or both. But in 1950, the BC Provincial Police Force was disbanded.
It's not really clear. There was a lot of unhappiness. People liked their provincial police.
The RCMP and municipal forces were left with the task of keeping the peace, and the job of preserving the legacy of the BC Provincial Police now rests with the Royal BC Museum and Archives.
This Week in History, brought to you by the Royal BC Museum, bringing British Columbia's stories together.